Hi, it's Michael with you. It feels kind of weird not to do another Browns recap, sadly, but they will be back before we know it. So they'll be back in the fall. It's time, in the meantime, to recap more Cleveland Cavaliers games, basketball games from this past week. The notes are courtesy of the NBA app, the television broadcast, YouTube, and Twitter. In Boston Sunday, Cleveland scored the opening basket of the game with a spinning shot, but it was the only lead the Cavaliers enjoyed. The Celtics ran off 11 straight points to take control after Jaylen Brown's made field goal inside of 6 minutes left in the opening quarter. The margin went to 21-10, and Cleveland could not get the game into single figures for the rest of the duration of the game. Statistically, they were heavily out-rebounded 55-34 and were 10 of 33 from behind the arc. It added up to a 141-103 defeat. Individually, Colin Sexton was the leading scorer, but was held to 13 points. Zeddy Osman, Damian Dotson, and Jared Allen all had a dozen. Andre Drummond, Dylan Windler, and JaVale McGee also reached double figures with 11. Boston's Jaylen Brown went for 33 points, while his teammate Kemba Walker put in 21. Starters Daniel Tice and Marcus Smart totaled another 29. Carson Edwards and Aaron Nesmith were solid off the bench. The Cavaliers played better versus the Lakers on Monday. They fought back from 14 down in the middle stages of the second quarter and got as close as 4. Osman hit a 3 to close the first half to pull Cleveland to within 65-58. The team had a good jump to start the third quarter, and Sexton threw an alley-oop to Drummond, who converted a layup to put the Cavs up 70-69, their first lead since a little under 6 minutes left in the first quarter. It stayed close with neither side up by more than 4 until one of 7 made triples by LeBron James inside of 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Though his next one put the Lakers up 8 at 108-100, Cleveland scored on each of their next 3 possessions as part of a 7-2 mini run. Drummond and Sexton with 2-point baskets and Isaac Okoro's long ball with 1:50 left. However, James would come up with a tray of his own out of a timeout, then make a turnaround shot as a result of an Alex Caruso theft of Sexton, and Los Angeles ultimately walked out with a 115-108 decision. Cleveland did not take as many threes as they did Sunday, going 9 for 21. Still, they had 17 turnovers, and it is very tough to overcome, particularly against the defending champions. The Lakers had a 22-15 advantage on points off of turnovers, so that hurt. Drummond did his part to keep the Cavaliers close with 25 points and 17 rebounds. Osman threw in 20. Sexton added 17 and Darius Garland 11. As for the Lakers, LeBron James put on a virtuoso performance, pouring in 46 in 38 minutes of action. He got some help from Anthony Davis, Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder, and Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, as they all had at least 10 points. Davis had the lone double-double for his team at 17 and 10. Against the Pistons on Wednesday, Cleveland were able to get back into the win column, pulling away in the fourth after another hard-fought contest, 122-107. This time the Cavaliers were the ones forcing and converting mistakes from the opposition. It was Cleveland 30-17 in the latter department. They had 14 steals and 7 blocks. The three-pointers were going down, and from the floor, the Cavs were 54%, though Detroit did pull even past the midway point of quarter number 3 on Jeremy Grant's shot behind the arc. Their last lead was 56-54 before an Osman 3 in the opening half minute following halftime. At 92-86 early in the final 12 minutes, Cleveland went on a 16-3 run, which gave them enough of a gap to help them park the boat in the dock. Colin Sexton was red hot, making 10 of 14 from the field to get his total to 29. Once again, Andre Drummond got his double-double at 23 and 16. Getting in the teens scoring-wise were Taurean Prince and Darius Garland, who combined for 30 of Cleveland's points. Okoro, Allen, and Osman each had 10 in the victory. Jeremy Grant led the Pistons with 26, while Mason Plumlee recorded 15 and 12. Derrick Rose had 13 in 19 minutes of action. Wayne Ellington recorded 17, and DeLon Wright finished with 11 for Detroit. And again, it was 92-86 Cleveland before that aforementioned 16-3 run that put them up put them up by Yes, by that margin, 19, and they got the win. So last night, Cleveland searched for 2 wins on the trot in New York City against the Knicks. They started out well with 13 of the game's first 16 after Drummond's layup with more than 6.5 minutes elapsed. However, New York closed the quarter strong, leading 19-17 after a quarter. Dylan Windler made a triple early in the second to reclaim the lead, but Obi Toppin, whom the Knicks drafted this past offseason, scored the basket which put the home side up to stay at 27-26, and he would later add a 3, as he was not on the floor very much in the game Friday. It was really another game to forget for Cleveland because they only mustered 81 points, just 33 in the first 24 minutes. The Cavaliers managed to whittle the deficit to 3 after Garland's floater with just over 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter, but they didn't get any closer after that. Cleveland scored only 2 field goals until the opening seconds of the fourth, and the mountain was too steep. 102-81 was the final score, the Knicks getting the win. Garland led Cleveland with 24. Allen put in 17, and Sexton had 15. Drummond, though grabbing 15 boards, had a tough day at the office, like many of his teammates putting the ball through the net. Emmanuel Quigley off the bench really stood out with 25 points. R.J. Barrett added 24, while veterans Julius Randle and Austin Rivers closed with 16 and 13 respectively. So the Cavaliers will next take the court tomorrow night in Minnesota against a struggling Timberwolves side. The two sides will then fly to Cleveland to complete a home-and-home series in Ohio on Monday. The Clippers, with one of the best records in the Western Conference, pay a visit on Wednesday. The 3 aforementioned games are scheduled to get underway at just after 7 o'clock Central Time. A home game Friday versus Milwaukee will begin a 2-game series versus the Bucks at 6:30. And checking the NBA standings, the Cavaliers are still in a playoff position despite taking 1 of 4 in the past 6 days. They are 7th at 9 wins and 10 losses, with 1 fewer loss than the 8th-placed Knicks in the Eastern Conference standings. Ahead of those two, from 1 through 6, are the following: the 14-6 76ers, 13-8 Nets, 11-7 Bucks, 10-7 Celtics, 11-8 Pacers, and 10-9 Hawks. In the Western Conference, the top 3 include the Jazz at 15-4, followed by the 15-5 Clippers and 14-6 Lakers. The Spurs and Nuggets have the same record at 11-8. The Grizzlies are 7 up and 6 down, while the Suns and Trailblazers round out the top 8 slots at 9-8. So you can follow the North Texas Browns backers on Facebook by typing in North Texas Browns backers in the search box. Videos and previous entries can be found by typing in Michael Balesta Roman numeral 2 on YouTube. I am on Twitter and Instagram at MJBalesta2, as in the number 2. http://www.mjbalesta2.wordpress.com, and that has the text form of this blog. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you. Take care.